Okay, is everybody seeing that okay?
Yes.
Wonderful. Okay. I kind of figured that I really need to take a step back when talking about the trail feasibility study and kind of give an overview of what we have going on or what already exists in Pike County so that you understand this next step.
What?
So in Pike County, we're very blessed that we have a lot of natural lands, public lands for public enjoyment. I'm going to try to point these out here for you. With the Delaware Water Gap down here along the lower section of Pike County. We also have ample lands in the Delaware State Forest. Over here, we've got Promised Land State Park, as well as a lot of the state game lands that consist and together bring in a significant amount of public land available to visitors, to outdoor enthusiasts, as well as some of the smaller ones, and they won't pop as obvious when I add the municipal parks there, but we do have a number of resources there as well. So looking at that, we kind of took a look at how people approach these maps. And if somebody wants to go hunting on state game lands, they would contact the Game Commission, ask for a map. If they wanted to go hiking in the state forest, they'd call DCNR down in Swiftwater and ask for one of their maps, and so on and so forth with the different organizations that all manage and operate these public lands in the county. So with our Pike Outdoor Guide, what we decided we needed to do was put all of this data in one place. So what ends up happening is the Public Lands Guide. Hopefully folks might be familiar with the guide, the paper guide itself, which we started in 2010, but it got a recent update as well as a mobile app introduction here in August of 2018 to help advance those initiatives. Would you like me to run through that paper guide? I can click on that and show you how that operates.
Yeah, I think that would be great. There's a few of us that aren't familiar with it.
Okay, fantastic. Let me turn that off and get my clicking capability back. All right. Hopefully everybody is able to see that. Are you seeing the guide itself and flipping pages?
Not flipping pages.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so this is our current Pike Outdoors guide, the publication that was just updated most recently. So you'll see it's got some great stories in here. We have some great partners with DCNR, National Park Service, the Game Commission, a lot of the conservation organizations that exist in Pike County. So we have a number of resources to tap when it comes to getting some great articles. But the meat of this guide is really the combination of the public lands that you'll see. And the maps start here, and you can see state game lands, and they slide right into state forest and the trails. You can start to see those connections, how they flush out, how they continue. You're not just going off of the state game land into no man's land. You're continuing on to another asset that is available for public exploration and use as well. Click through some of those a little faster here. Some of them are more.
Yes.
Pardon me,
Yes,
Jeff.
the pages aren't flipping on my end.
No,
Okay.
no mine. Yeah.
Mine either.
Okay. Okay, so you just have a cover screen then.
Correct.
Okay, then I will skip that and we will go back out here. But that guide is definitely something to take a look at. If you don't have one, we can make those available to you. Give my office a call. We'd be happy to hook you up with those. We do have some left and hoping to produce some more. The mobile app is a really cool feature that a lot of people haven't discovered yet, though we are trying to promote that and get that information out to folks. Whoop, we jumped a step here. So the first screen you see when you get into the Pike Outdoors app are these green lands, the public lands that are accessible to us. So if I go in here and zoom to an area, for instance, this one right here, we go to Bruce Lake. it pops up, it identifies itself, and then you can click on that feature again, get some information about it. It'll tell you about that area, whatever land you've selected, the information that we have access to, we try to share with folks. The key here, and what a lot of people miss, is this magic little map button down here. So when you're in the app, this is the place to be, because that's going to really expand what you can do with your public lands and what you're looking for. So that inner map brings you to trails. It'll show you campsites. It'll bring up parking areas, gates that may or may not be opened seasonally for hunting and access in that regard, boat launches. In this case, I've selected the Bruce Lake Trail. So you see it highlighted here in a brighter orange color, Boulder. And then I can click on the Bruce Lake Trail ID, and it'll again take you in, let you, there's hopefully a photo for those. If we have access to the photos, we try to put something in from the trailhead so folks can see real time what it looks like out there. But then there's little icons on every location to tell you what you can do. So looking at this one quickly, I can see it's got a parking area. It's available for hiking as well as cross-country skiing. A really cool feature with a number of our trails is also this D and T, which stands for difficulty in terrain. So we've given this one a difficulty of 1, terrain of 1. So somebody looking at this to determine if this is a suitable trail for them can say it's probably not too steep and it's not going to be too difficult. So the rock should be pretty decent, not a lot of roots sticking out, so you don't have a lot of potential for injury out there. So it might make a great trail for a family with small children, a stroller, folks that just want to take a nice gentle stroll. And as you get through there, you start to look around, find those other trails that might be more aggressive if you want something with a little more difficulty. It also does a great job of identifying the trail base, if we know that, as well as the distance, so you can start to calculate that. But I'll bring this here and just pause here briefly if anybody is interested. If you want to follow Pike Outdoors, we have a Facebook page as well as an Instagram. If you have a mobile phone with a QR code reader, you can snap a picture at either one and follow us on either platform. But that brings us to kind of where we are today, which, finishing up the Pike Outdoor Guide, made us really stop and take a look at some of the things that were happening regionally and the interconnectivity or lack thereof of some of our already existing lands and areas. So in May of 2020, Wayne County completed their feasibility study of a section from Honesdale to Hawley through that river corridor. So they looked at the roads, they looked at the river, and they looked at the rail to determine if there might be a way to get a trail to fit through that corridor. So Pike County, following that project, kicked off our plans and did a similar study, which we, like I said, we just kicked this off. And the impetus behind—
How much did that weigh? 337?
I'm sorry?
37.
Oh. Some of the motivation behind us doing this trail feasibility study comes from the Pike County Open Space Plan, which this is an excerpt from the executive summary from that plan, the blueprint for action, where for greenways and trails for Pike County to develop a trail within a 15-minute walk or bike ride of every citizen. So moving this goal forward, as well as trying to tackle the goal of the Lackawaxen Shohola Open Space Plan, was to also look at the Lackawaxen River Corridor to see if there was a way to create a trail and increase activity and recreation through that as well. So here we are, present time. This is the area in question. And as I said, we are looking at the rail line, we are looking at the towpath, we are looking at the Lackawaxen River, as well as some potential linkages with the outflow, the gorge trail that's proposed, and any other opportunities where we could connect with existing public lands. Our study committee is appointed by the county commissioners, and the list of who represents is shown on that screen. If you have any questions or on any of those members, by all means, feel free to ask. And here is the survey that I think is what brought about this original conversation for that trail feasibility study. We are doing a public input survey. It kicked off March 1, and we will run it probably till the end of April, provided we get enough responses, but we are over 700 responses so far. You can, again, click on this QR code or scan it with your phone, or you can go to that link to take that survey. We are looking for everybody's input, pro, con. There's an opportunity to add your concerns if you have some, to give us your feedback. If you're positive or negative, we want to hear from everybody. And I think the important thing here is that this is a feasibility study, and we want to make sure that everybody knows that the county is doing this feasibility study to see if a trail is viable. We are not looking to come in and put one in right now. We're just looking to see if it's doable, and is, you know, both financially, physically, with the resources, everything. We are looking at everything, and we are conducting this entire project with Woodland Design Associates out of Honesdale. So they're familiar with the area. They're familiar with the Wayne County project. They completed that one. So it's a great stepping stone for us. And we are very close. I want to say end of May, we were looking at a public, hopefully in-person event to bring everybody out for our first public hearing, public meeting, to take a look at this and get the other additional input from folks. But by all means, your responses to this now are greatly appreciated. Help us guide this plan. And looking at Pike County growing forward, we are updating our open space, greenways, and recreation plan. We are also updating our comprehensive plan. We are required, in order to maintain eligibility for funding, to update our hazard mitigation plan every couple of years. So that is also underway right now. In addition to improvements to a recycling center, to see if we can't bring that back into downtown Milford at the former PennDOT location, as well as the development of the Santos Riverfront Park, which was an acquisition using our open space funding back in 2009. And it has been sitting there along the Delaware River, just outside of Milford, with a great master site plan and some great goals there to develop that into a community resource. So we have a lot going on, a lot to be excited about, and I'm excited. There's a lot going on. And if you have any questions, there's my information. I'm certainly happy to take questions now. But if you want to contribute anything privately, my email and my phone are there as well.
I had a question.
Yes.
I was reading in the Tri-County Independent that the Lackawaxen Township Board of Supervisors had expressed some concern about liability issues for the trail use in their area. I think there are some misconceptions about what liability exists from working on D&H Canal trails. So can you address that?
Sure, absolutely. And I hadn't heard that. I know there has been, I've gotten a lot of calls from some folks in Lackawaxen. Certainly this is not an eminent domain thing, but in regards to liability, there is definitely coverage through the Recreational Use of Land and Water Act in Pennsylvania. So if you're not charging for somebody to come out, even on private property, township property that has parks and amenities, boat launches, docks, these things are all covered under that act. So while you technically can be sued, they will not have a case because of the Recreational Use of Land and Water Act. It was just updated in 2018 to offer those additional protections, such as the amenities, to also make sure municipalities were covered. So yes, I think that is a concern that we can certainly address there and calm their fears, because there's no intention to charge if a trail were to go through here. So they are more than covered for recreational use.
I have a question for you, Jessica.
Sure.
Have you gotten as far as laying out where the trail might be? There's the river in the middle, and then there's the railroad side and the road side. Do you have any idea whether it would tripes on one or the other or both? Any designs yet, or is that going to be determined after public hearings?
That's all to be determined. We have some early May dates set to go out and explore that whole corridor by foot. So you might see us out there along the roads. We all know the towpath is pretty tight, very little, if any, shoulder, but it is a designated bike route. So we did want to make sure we included that in the exploration, as well as some different advantages to seeing eagles from that location. There's pros and cons to all of these attributes that we're looking at. So we have nothing set right now. We're looking at the entire thing.
Thank you.
Questions? Well then, thank you, Jessica.
I was happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Don't have to go home, but you don't have to stay here either if you choose not to, since you're already home.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jessica.
Sure.
I think we had a couple